Hi, my name is Ronan Story from the Barber Academy, and in this video we're going to be covering a basic short back and sides. So a client has walked in with, let's say, 4 weeks growth, and he says he's looking for a short back and sides. Now we're going to decide what sort of back and sides we're going to go, what numbers with the client. So let's say he's come and said I usually get a 4 back and sides. So that's what we're going to do. I've sectioned the hair off where the growth patterns happen. So here at the crown to the recession, and then from crown to recession. This gives us a nice map of sides and top. Okay, nice simple section, nothing too easy, nothing too hard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the back. The reason why I want to start at the back is that I want to feel where I need to come off the head. Okay, so I can see where this is flat. So I can see that there's a gap here and there's a gap here. This is a really nice place to go in and off the head, okay? So let's say we're gonna go in. Once we feel that part, we're gonna go off the head, okay? In and off. Now sometimes what will happen is you'll be left with this weight line. Don't worry, just keep on going around like this, but making sure that you're scooping out a little bit. Not too much, but you're scooping out a little bit, okay? So I'll just continue on. And you can see I'm scooping out a little bit, but not a lot. And I'm working around the head like this. All the way to the front. Making sure that you're getting in with the comb and brushing everything straight down. Because if the hair is going this way, we can find it a little bit harder to get down to the 4. We can miss hair, so make sure that it's going straight down and we're going straight up against it. Okay? So now that I'm happy with everything being a 4 underneath here, I can basically take off my 4 guard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my 4 into the length of hair that's there. Okay, so starting at the back again, I'm going to use clipper over comb and I'm going to go straight up. How do we find where we need to do our clipper over comb is the biggest question that I get asked, is where do we know where to take off the length or where to leave it? So if you feel like you are one of them people that is asking that question, pull the comb up and you'll see that there's a uniform cut there. Okay, so it's all a number 4. But whenever we get to the spot where it starts to get a little bit longer, that's exactly where we know we need to take that length off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the comb up. I can now see the longer hair. So I'm going to go in and go straight across. Okay, brush it down. We can already see it starting to blend in nicely already. I leave my clipper open whenever I'm doing clipper over comb because it gives me that little bit more safety, but it also creates a softer line as well. Okay, so I can see all the uniform hair and then I can see the change and in and straight across. So I'm working that all the way to the front and I can work this way, I can work back the way, but I can also work up and down too. Like this. This is my favorite way of doing clipper over comb and finishing it because we can really get in and detail and soften that line that we have there. Now, while I have this in my hand, I have my comb and my clipper with no guard. I'm just going to taper out the edges so we can see that whenever we put a 4 on, we can see that there's still longer hair towards the exterior. Now, in most haircuts, we want these to be with most short back and sides, we want these to be the shortest parts, okay? Whether we do a taper or the person doesn't want a taper, they just want it a little bit shorter. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our clipper over comb again. We're going to go in and we're going to come off the head, not taking too much off the start, but we're just reducing that length down. And you can see the way I'm using the comb, I'm kind of lofting it out like this. I'm not keeping it flat because I'll take too much off. I'm going in and then I'm popping the top out. So like we're doing normal graduation, same angle, okay? And then same thing with this part, making it longer towards the top and just reducing that length down there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up around the ears with our clipper. Because it's convenient, this is how we reduce a little bit of time whenever we're doing short back and sides also. All right, if you have the clipper in your hand, you might as well use it. We can come back later and use the trimmer, but for now we can just get the bulk of the work done like this. So working that down, making it a little bit shorter, a little bit sharper. Okay. And while I'm here, we've asked the client if they wanted straight across at the back of the neck, rounded, or they wanted a taper. So let's say this client wants it square at the back. Okay. So what I'm going to do, nice and natural hairline. All right. The biggest thing with these hairlines is we want to keep them natural. We want to enhance that line, but we just don't want to push it past the hairline. Okay. So if you need to look where the hairline is first, lift it up, see that it's there, and make sure you don't go past it. Then we're going to start here at the back, and we're going to go a nice square cutting line. Make sure that you're being a little bit softer here at the neck, because sometimes trimmers and clippers can be, if we zero gap them, they can be quite close and it can irritate the neckline. So just make sure we're being nice and soft, just tapping away. And then we'll clean up all that hair. Right? That's basically your sides done. Okay, we've blended it into the top nice and easily. I like to leave just a little bit there so that the top can sit onto it nicely, and then I finish it off with my scissor over. So now that we've done the sides, we've done our clipper over comb, we've tidied up around the ears, that's basically our clipper work and electrical work done. Okay, so now we're going to be left with this. Okay, we need to tidy this up. Okay, but we're also going to cut the top at the same time. I'm going to opt for more of a rounder shape, so I'm going to follow the shape of the head. This will make it a little bit easier to blend in, but also create a nice shape going forward. Okay, so what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to start here at the back. I'm going to take a horizontal section, just left and right. I'm going to pick the hair up. I'm going to decide with the client if he's happy enough to go shorter on the top, and let's say we've agreed on this length. I'm going to go in and just cut straight across. Now how we get that rounder shape is I'm going to pull it 90 from where it lives. Okay, so I'm going to put my fingers right to the scalp and I'm going to drive 90 up from there, and you'll see this little corner. All we need to do is soften it. Okay, then we're going to take another one, and then what should we see is a nice connection point there. Okay, so all I need to do now is split that in two. Take another section. I don't want to take massive sections because I can get confused. So take a nice small section. The more time we do this, the bigger sections we can take, okay? So going back to the start, in, and cut. And the exact same thing, we're going to round it off. I'm going to split that, take another section, push all that out of the way, lift it up. This is a nice easy way because you're taking the guides from the last thing into the next thing, so you can never really get lost. So it was like the back and sides. We did the clipper work first, number 4, and then we did our clipper over comb. We had the guide for the clipper over comb because we did the 4. Then we tapered off the locks and around the hairline. And now we're taking this guide and we're moving it into the top to give us a really nice length for the top. So still working that forward. I'm going to make this a little bit longer towards the front. okay? Because the client said that he wants to wear it, he wants a little bit more length towards the front, okay? How we make that longer is we'll start to push this hair a little bit forward like this, okay? Rather than bringing it back to us, which will create it the same length, I'm gonna push it forward a little bit more, just like that. This will make it a little bit longer, but still connected. So still keeping that a little bit more length, all right? Over directing it forward. But whenever I come to the very front, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to pull this back to the last one. That will keep a nice bit of length towards the fringe, and then we can go in and cross check it. Whenever I do the sides of the head, or the very front of the head here, I'll always mimic the hairline, okay? So if the hairline goes way back here, I definitely want to do this, okay? It keeps the weight towards the front. If we go square and we take all that off, what can happen is you're left with a little hole here, okay? So go off to the side and mimic the hairline, and then we can cut this way. Okay, and that's basically us done. Now we can wear this back, or we can wear this front, forward. And you can see client has a little bit more length towards the front. Obviously I'll do the fringe here, but it's all nice and connected, okay? Now the last thing that I'm gonna do is just do my scissor over comb, just to connect these two and make it a little bit softer, okay? So doing scissor over comb, biggest mistake that I see is people going too much out or going too much in, all right? So my kind of thinking about it is more straight up like this, okay? You'll see me whenever I do scissor over comb, whenever I lift the hair in, I show more hair than I actually take off. So I'll show a nice bit of hair, but whenever I go in and cut, I only cut the very, very ends, okay? I'm controlling with my scissors how much I'm taking off, rather than having all of this hair in and taking it all off, okay? So nice and light, I'm working that all the way up. The other thing I see people do is not finishing, okay? What they'll do is they'll go in and do scissor over comb there and stop. Now that actually just makes another line, okay? So we need to finish our scissor over comb off. So making sure that we're going straight off the head like that, and that makes it much cleaner. So I'm just going to work all the way around like this. Let's put a scissor over comb. Another tip whenever you're doing scissor over comb, I find, is people can't get this angle and they feel a little bit awkward. And so biggest thing is push this back like this and only use your thumb, okay? Balance the weight between your middle finger and your pinky and only move your thumb, okay? So that whenever I'm here, because the scissor is back like that, my wrist is really nice and straight and I can open and close without it hurting. Now, if that still doesn't work, what I want you to do is I want you to keep your hands there, but step to the left, okay? Now we have a really nice, easy way of doing clipper over comb that's also nice on our body as well. So all I'm doing now is making it visually look right, okay? Making it visually look good. So what we can do now is we're going to match this length up here together, okay? So what we can do is, I don't want to cut this blunt in, so what I'm going to do is pop my finger here and I'm just going to point cut in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down and make sure that it's connecting up with the sides. Now we've kept the length towards the front. It's all connected, but it's still a little bit longer towards the front. Okay? And then all that's left is to blow dry that out and maybe finish it off with a little bit of scissor over comb, a little bit of texturizing, but overall, happy days.